Shannon from the Valley Alchemist Tea Company. If you're watching this video, it means you've picked up one of our tea blending kits. So I'm here to walk you through the very simple process of blending your very own Earl Grey tea. So in your kit, you should find that you have 4 of these little bags of ingredients. You've got 1 tin to store your finished product in. You've got a roll of steeping bags. So you'll only need a couple of other things from your house. One would be a good spoon, and the other is a vessel to blend your tea in. I'm going to use a mason jar because it's clear so we can see what we're doing, and this is a great way to shake up and mix a small batch of tea. So we've given you 4 teas, or 4 ingredients to build your own Earl Grey tea out of. The first 2 ingredients are our tea leaves. So the first tea is a classic Earl Grey. This is a tea that we love working with. It has a big, bold bergamot flavor, really strong and powerful. And we've heard from more than one passionate Earl Grey tea drinker that this is the best, their favorite tea, the best Earl Grey they've ever had. Our next tea is a cream Earl Grey. So this is also a classic. It's a little bit softer than our classic Earl Grey. But it is your bergamot orange flavor over a strong black tea leaf with added notes of vanilla to really soften the flavor. We've given you flower petals to go with the Earl Grey because we just think that the floral notes that come from flower petals go so beautifully with the citrus flavor of the Earl Grey. These flower petals are from the Provence region in France. They're aromatic, they're fresh, they're gorgeous. And then our next flower petal is rose petals. These are also so lovely with an Earl Grey. They have such a beautiful, floral, delicate, almost a sweet note that's so lovely when adding to tea. So the first recipe that we'll work through together is the lavender Earl Grey. So for this, I'm going to get my mason jar out. And we're going to add some ingredients. So we're going to start with the classic Earl Grey. I really like how bold and strong this is, so I really want to make sure it's in my cup of tea. So I'm just going to add this scoop to the mason jar. And then, I think I'm going to soften it a little. So we'll add a scoop of the cream Earl Grey. And if you like a softer, creamier, smoother cup of tea, then I definitely suggest adding a second scoop of the cream Earl Grey. So typically with flower petals, you want to mix it at a ratio of maybe 4 to 1. Lavender especially can be really overpowering if you get too crazy. So I'm going to start with a really small scoop of this in comparison to my tea. And I'm going to add that to my jar. So now that I've got these in here, I'm going to put the lid on and I'm just going to give it a shake. So you can just sort of shake it gently. And spin your jar around, or alternately, you're welcome to mix into a bowl and you can just stir it with a spoon. And just keep an eye on your tea until when you look at it, you can see that the flower petals and the tea leaves, everything looks really well blended and mixed together, that you don't have clumps of an ingredient in one side of the jar. And you can take off your lid and give it a smell. To me, I think this ratio is pretty good. I can see I've got a good amount of lavender in there, but not too much. I think when I give it a smell, I can smell my Earl Grey tea absolutely, with just a hint of lavender underneath. So before I commit to this blend, I'm gonna taste it. So we're gonna take our steeping bag. So this is a drawstring steeping bag. It's made of paper. So once you're done with it, this whole thing can go in your garden or municipal compost. So I typically recommend for tea strength a ratio of about 1 heaping teaspoon to 1 cup of water. So our tea's been steeping for 5 minutes. We usually recommend a 3 to 5 minute steep for your teas just to get the most out of the flavors. So we're gonna give it a try now and see how our blend turned out. I'm really happy with the blend that we just created together. I went double on the cream Earl Grey because I love a soft, smooth cup of tea. The lavender, just right. I've got just a hint without it overpowering the cup. And I think this is great. So I'm going to store the rest of the tea that I blended. I think it's ready to go. So I'm going to put what I've got left into my tea tin. These are food safe tins. So you can just take your jar or your bowl and pour everything right in your tin and close it up. This is perfect for storage. It's light and airtight. Which will help keep your tea fresh for up to 2 years. So you can follow the exact same steps through the recipe card or through your own imagination for coming up with a rose petal Earl Grey. I would also love if you guys are mixing and matching these ingredients and other combinations. I'd love to know what you came up with, what you think of it. You can follow us online at the Valley Alchemist, or send us an email, hello@thevalleyalchemist.com. Thank you so much for picking up our tea blending kit. We hope you're having as much fun with it as we did.